Hey, this is Randy with Phoenix Gun Range alongside of
Nate with 864 Tactical.
Today we're going to look at something that we don't normally handle here at the range. And this is just for us to get a better look at it and also let people know what's out there, okay? To the best of my knowledge, the gun that we're looking at today, they have not released for retail sale unless you go to one of their actual retail outlets, okay? And what that gun is?
It's a PSA Dagger.
The PSA Dagger. Now, which generation is this? Is this the first one, second one, what?
I believe it's the first generation.
First
I'd
generation?
have to double check on that to confirm. It actually is a shout out to a buddy of mine. We'll disclose that later on.
Well, that's fine. I mean, anybody that wants to contribute guns for us to review down here so people can see what they are, we're happy to take in the guns. We'll make sure we clean them up and get them back to you as quickly as possible. And just let people know what kind of tools are available for them to be able to train with. Okay, so basically what we're looking at is, as soon as I get it out of here, this guy right here, and as you notice, there's no magazine in it. It is empty. Okay, there's nothing in the chamber. This one here has an OD green slide on it with the black polymer lower. All right, it's not optics cut. A lot of them are optics cut. And what's unique about the ones when they optics cut them is they move the rear sight forward and then put the optics cut behind it. Okay, it's kind of interesting the way they did that. It makes it easier to co-witness.
Yep.
Okay, but we're curious to see how this one's going to stand up on the range. We decided to do something a little different today. We've been showing off the training range in the last several videos, so we decided we'd bring them down here to the IDPA range. Okay, show you one of our private pits and show you what we got inside this. We're going to start moving it around the range to show you different pits in the range, and so that way you get a little bit better view of what's going on down here. You ready to hammer this thing?
Sounds good to me. Make sure you put your ears in this time.
I will, because you're shooting first. There you go. And there's the magazine. And I'll step out of here and let you do your thing.
All right. So it looks like we got 15 round mags. And a chamber, so we'll see what we can do with it. That was 15. It seems to want to pull to the left a little bit.
Pull to the left?
Yep, seems to want to pull a little bit to the left.
Well, it could be a little bit to do with how you are holding the gun or how your hands are on it or something. I mean, I didn't get up close to look at it.
I've got them big meats, so it kind of sits in my hand a little weird.
Yeah, where I got that thin side of my hand, so it sits different for me, you know. But the nice thing about it is the grip module on it is actually fairly good size. I mean, it's comfortable for either size hand, really.
Yeah, it is pretty comfortable. I don't like the center bulge on the grip where they put the extra texture.
Yeah.
It's a little thick there for me, but
okay,
it's a nice feel.
I'm not too sure about that mag release though. I mean, I'm not going to touch it, of course, but it's a little bit to reach with that thick grip. But that's reminiscent of a Glock, and it is a Glock clone.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a Gen 3 clone.
So we'll go ahead and look at this a little bit closer while he's loading up another magazine. A couple of the features that they have on it. They do have the slide serrations on both the front and the rear, which makes it easy for press checks, okay, as well as racking the slide the whole way back. It's very positive grip. It does have 3-dot sights that are driftable in the back, but they're pinned in the front. And it does look like it's got the polygonal rifling, like the Glock barrels use, okay? Everything else about it screams Glock. I mean, it just screams it out, with the exception of this hinge trigger. That screams Smith & Wesson to me. Now, the other thing is, and I'm not a big fan of guns that have a takedown with these seem to be a little further out than what a Glock is, but it looks like they'd come out pretty easily. Yeah, so it's a lot easier to take down than a Glock. And actually inside, the striker, the firing pin block, everything's the same as a Glock, but it's got a single captured spring. All right. The rails, not too bad. A little small. The front rails are a little bit bigger than what you see in a Glock, but not much. But the back rails are pretty small. But everything else inside, the trigger grip and everything's the same as the Glock.
It is also 100% compatible with Glock. You can take the Glock slides and put directly on those. They lock up, they fire, and they run.
Okay, well, we're gonna find out what this trigger is all about. See, I hear that spring bounce at the end of it. I'm not a big fan of that. So here we go. This will be my first 15 through this, okay? And again, I don't bash Glock, but I'm not a Glock fanboy, okay? I think Glock puts together a good gun. Let's hope PSA can stand up to what Glock does. Left. I don't know if it's that sight or what. Maybe it's my eyeballs. Yeah, because I was on there for a little bit, then it started to go left. What I was doing there at the end, just that way everybody understands what I was trying to do. I was questioning the trigger, okay? I'm not a fan of a hinged trigger.
No.
But honestly, once you get going with this, if you use good technique when you're shooting, okay, and you don't lose contact with the trigger, you don't even realize it's hinged.
Yeah.
Okay. At the end there, I slowed down the rate of fire because I was checking the reset more than anything. And I will say this, it does have a lot closer and a very tactile reset than what a Glock has. So I can't complain about that. I think it's pretty good. I think they did a good job of putting it together. I don't see where there's any kind of issues with it. Okay. The barrel looks good. The ramp looks good. I don't see any issues there. Okay, the sight picture is pretty good. I think a lot of it was, I typically wear regular glasses and now I got sunglasses on, so I wasn't getting as good a sight picture as I normally would. So that was a lot of that was on me, it wasn't on the gun.
Yeah.
But I do think that if you look at it, it does appear that it's drifted a little bit to that side. So it may be that rear sight is drifted a little bit, which is causing us to be off a little too.
That could very well could be. Yeah, it is definitely off. It's got a good feel to it. My only complaint is it's just a little bit thick right here. But
well,
all in all, it is a comfortable firearm.
Yeah, I think it's comfortable to shoot. And I definitely would not discourage somebody from buying one.
No.
Okay.
I mean, a $400 gun?
Yeah, I mean, you're looking at basically a Glock 19 for less than $400.
I've seen them as cheap on the used market as
$250.
Yeah,
I'm gonna say I've seen them down in the mid twos. Some of them I've even seen, used going into the lower twos.
Yep.
You know, so I can't say too much about that. I mean, it's a good value. They did a good job of putting it together. I will say that. All right. As far as the clone market out there, I think that PSA is doing a good job of picking up where the patents drop off, and they're making small improvements to it even.
Yeah.
Okay, I mean, like I said, that trigger is 100% better than any Glock trigger I've ever touched. Okay, I will say that. And Glock triggers are spongy, they're springy. I was concerned about whenever I dry fired it, I felt that springiness at the back end. But once I started shooting it, I lost track of that. That went away. Okay, and you were saying about the texture. When you're standing holding a gun in your hands, you will feel the differences in the textures. But once you get focused on shooting, you lose all that.
Yep.
Okay, that just goes right out the window. You don't even think about it anymore. And all you're thinking about is that gun stands real steady in my hands. It's not bouncing around. It's not being able to slide. So I think that they did a good job on the texture. A little thick in the grip, like you said, but I think also the Glock 19 is pretty thick in the grip as well. So I don't think that they did anything different there. Just changed the grip texture on it.
They definitely made it more ergonomic fitting to the hands. They don't have, it's more of a contour than to where Glock's flat walls, sides, brick.
It has, yeah, absolutely. And if you look at it, let me see that real quick. If you look at it, you can see the hump in the back.
Yep.
Okay, that little bit of a hump does make it to where whenever you get your hand into it, it'll actually slide into your hand in a cradles it pretty nice. Okay, so it does feel good in the hand. I'll say that. I think that and I like the idea of this, just that one little finger bump. Okay.
Yep.
Because you get that middle finger up underneath there on that, and you get nice and tight, and then everything else locks into it. Okay, so you don't have multiple bumps with different size fingers. It gets uncomfortable. This you don't even really feel it once you're locked in.
Yep.
Okay. I like the fact that it's deep undercut, and instead of being, again, this is one of the things, the ergonomics you're talking about. When you look at the Glock, when they did the undercut here, it was straight. I mean, they did the curved undercut, but it was straight off of the trigger guard. They beveled the edges here to make them rounded, so it's a little more comfortable. You don't get that kind of sharp edge cutting into you like you do in a Glock. Does that make any sense?
Yeah, it does.
And they also smoothed out underneath here a little bit, so you're not going to get Glock knuckle.
Yep.
So I kind of like that, and I like the gun overall. Okay, I can't complain about it. And like I said, gentleman was nice enough to let us review this gun and take a look at it. And we're not going to beat it up too much. It's not one that I bought. Otherwise, we'd do all kinds of crazy nonsense with it. But for what its intended purpose is, okay, to have something that would be easily concealable, okay, comfortable in the hand, and reliable,
I think it's a great option.
Yeah, you can't go wrong.
Sub $400. I think the most fancy models they have is still sub $600.
Oh yeah,
with MOS cut, everything.
I've seen the MOS cut on them for right around that 300, 320 mark.
Yep.
I mean, you can get different triggers, different barrels. There's all kinds of things you can do to them, and that's the beauty of it. They made it kind of like an AR-15, where it's an adult Lego, so to speak. So you can change out the slides, do different things with it, change out the triggers real easy. I mean, there's just a lot of different options you have. And I usually tell people, especially when you're a beginning shooter and you're just starting out, something like this would be good to start with. It's inexpensive to start with, and as you get better and more comfortable, you can start doing little changes to it and make it your own.
Yep.
Upgrade it, put a different barrel in it if you want to, different trigger in it, different, do some slide work to it. I mean, there's just a lot of things you can do. And again, Glock pattern sights, there's so many. True Glow makes a ton of sights that you can get. The Tritium, you can get the night sights, you can get the what do you call them, phosphorescent sights.
Yep.
I mean, there's just a wide variety of sight packages you can put on this.
Yeah,
and it does have, it's a single slot on the rail, but you can put a light on here and it will clip to the rail, or you can get the one that clips onto the actual trigger guard. One thing I would like to see though, okay, granted we don't get a whole lot of cold weather down here. I mean cold, shivering cold where you're wearing big heavy gloves. But I would like to see them open up the trigger guard just a little bit more. Okay, so that way if you are wearing a glove other than a driving glove, you'd be able to get your finger in there without having to fight it to get it past the trigger. Because once you get your finger in there, I think you'd be good to go.
Yeah. Definitely going to have to give a big shout out to my buddy. And any final thoughts on it?
I think it's a great alternative to a Glock. A lot of people are told, and this kills me. This kills me, okay? And you've heard me make the statement before. With the gun manufacturing processes the way they are now, all right, you're hard-pressed to find a bad gun, okay? The processes are so good that it's just a matter of your preference for what you want to shoot.
Yep. The other question I got is this your first time with the PSA product?
With that particular one, yes. I mean, I've shot other PSA products. I've shot their ARs when they first came out. And again, I like the AR. I mean, something's been going on here lately. I don't know what it is. I'm not even going to venture to guess. But I've had a couple people down here with PSA ARs that had feeding issues. I think that they've got them straightened out. Sounds like somebody pulled in.
Yep.
Yeah. But anyhow, final thoughts? Great value. Can't go wrong with it. Very easily upgraded to whatever you want it to be. So you can start out there at that entry-level platform, and you can build it into a customized gun that you want. And it's not going to cost you an arm and a leg to do it.
Yep. And if all else fails and you run out of ammo, you can always hit him over the head with it. It's still a Glock clone. Have a nice day.